Hello, welcome everyone. It's 12 noon. So wonderful to see so many of you on the call. Got 3 pages full already and loving your beautiful avatars as well as your beautiful faces. So I'm just going to start with a quick opening and then I'm going to come to as many of you as I can during the hour at random and invite you to share just for 2 or 3 minutes what you're feeling, your observations, information that you want to impart, anything you wish to speak into the group. And we'll keep going till about 1 o'clock. And please do use the chat log if you want to communicate any links, and I will send both the recording and that chat log out to everyone who's registered for these calls. If you're watching this, it will be recorded and I will put it live on YouTube and Odyssey channels to the public, just to let you know. So if you don't want to be broadcast publicly, then please don't join the call, don't speak on the call. And anyone watching that wants to get on the invitation list to these Zoom sessions, please do visit my website, rachelelnaugh.com/sign-up, and you'll get the invitations and recordings and updates from me. So I just wanted to start this call by saying a couple of things just to get the fear out of the way before I open, and I open with an invocation just to align us. The first thing that I'd like to say and make really clear, because I have had a lot of heckling, a lot of verbal abuse. I don't think any one of us is denying that there is pain and suffering and dis-ease at the moment. And after the last 9 months of this that we've had, is it any surprise with the amount of depression and despair and bad news and illness unfolding? There is pain and suffering, and no one is denying that. I feel what we are questioning is the proportionateness of the response and what the bigger picture is behind this. And that is very much at the front of my mind, and so many people speaking out that there's more to this than meets the eye. There's more to this than is being talked about by the mainstream media and those who control the communications. Just to say on that point, yesterday on Sundays, I do actually spend a lot of Sunday listening to Radio 2, Elaine Page on Sunday. I love musicals. Johnny Walker, Sounds of the 70s. So I heard a lot of news bulletins yesterday while I was cooking Sunday lunch. And it was really interesting to listen to what is being seeded into the minds of the collective through those news bulletins. And the things that I picked up on are the new strains, which are super deadly and the vaccine may not work for, and then quarantine hotels. Obviously, quarantine camps is a bit hardcore, isn't it? But quarantine hotels, that sort of sounds, well, yeah, I could spend some time in a nice 4-star hotel. That doesn't sound too bad, does it? Quarantine hotels. So this is a sort of disturbing release of what a lot of us have already seen leaked from the Canadian government about compulsory quarantining anyone who's got the disease and being forcibly taken to a quarantine camp. Now, on that subject, I just wanted to mention that a friend of a friend has been identified as having this deadly new version of the disease through a blood test. She's been told that she has to quarantine until May, which is the amount of time to have your first vaccination, a second vaccination 3 months later, and then 2 weeks after that before you're fully safe to be released. So that's May. if upon being tested positive. And of course, there's no way to know this invisible dis-ease. There's no way to double check it or to know, so it's very frightening. So I wanted to get that fear off the table and just to say those things up front, because I do feel myself pulled into fear, and I have to do a lot of this inner, more spiritual work to come back into center. So I'm once again going to read the Great Invocation because it is so powerful, and then I'm going to start coming around the group to you. And if you can't stay for the whole thing, don't worry. People are putting in messages, so stay as long as you can. Let's see, we've got 67 people on the call, so I only have 100 seats on these Zoom calls, so that's good that there's still capacity, because I think most people like to watch content and most people don't like to create content, and there's well over 1,000 people signed up to these Zoom calls. So I'm going to read the Great Invocation. From the point of light within the mind of God, let light stream forth into the minds of men. Let light descend on earth. From the point of love within the heart of God, let love stream forth into the hearts of men. May Christ return to earth. From the center where the will of God is known, let purpose guide the little wills of men, the purpose which the masters know and serve. From the center which we call the race of men, let the plan of love and light work out, and may it seal the door to where evil dwells. Let light and love and power restore the plan on earth. And of course, the reference to Christ in that Great Invocation is nothing really to do with Christianity or religion. It's about Christ consciousness, about this heart-centered, loving being, Krishna, Christ, whatever label you want to put on that. This return of love to the planet, because of course, there's a great fable. I'll have to dig it out. There's a great fable where the father tasked his 3 sons to get rid of the darkness in the barn, and one of them filled it with corn, and the other was, and the third son, he just lit the candle. And it's a great fable about there's no need to fight the darkness. We just have to turn on the light, the heart light. So, okay, with that intro, it's 12:08. Let's start coming around the group. I'm going to come to some interesting avatars first of people who I've not come to before. And I'm going to come first to Heart Angel, because that's one of my power animals, the golden heart. Let's come to Heart Angel and invite you to, I'm going to unmute you.
Hello. Thank you for introducing me there. A part of my background has been almost 30 years as a therapist and healer. During that time, I noticed repeatedly that most people found it difficult to connect with and take guidance from their body, unless that connection was augmented by the conduit of touch, which at the time was from me. Latterly, I've been working more with the causative factors of perception and response. Diving into the roots of humanity, it seems that we all carry an element of ancestral fear within our DNA, and it is our perception of pain that deters us from consciously turning inwards to neutralize that fear. But while we hold that fear within ourselves, we are the vibrational receivers that can be used to generate yet more fear, which I'm sure you can see happening now. Now, as you look around you, it's the small percentage of the global population that has had the courage to go within and do the necessary cleaning that are awake at this time, while the rest hang back in the fear. The divide has been knowingly created to deter critical thinking by a well-known strategy of drip-fed propaganda, because when we're afraid, we live in the head and shut off the messages of the body. And of course, it is the body that is of prime importance at the moment in the raising of the vibration for the whole. What I see as the missing link is that these people who live in fear are afraid to take the leap into what they perceive as the unknown, because the unknown has no structure. And they've been brought up to feel that they need structure. They naturally seek the reassurance and safety of a structure so that they can feel held while they establish themselves in this new setting, much like you'd establish yourself in a new job. It takes time. The quick way across this gulf is, of course, to have someone take you by the hand, something which, of course, has been restricted. However, one of the thoughts that came to me is the concept of exclusivity. Much as dance clubs of the past were membership only, or bars and their prohibition, creating exclusivity might encourage the more daring to jump from the ship of perceived safety to something altogether different. And this something different will be the new pockets of community that we need to think about starting to build now.
Wow. Thank you so much, Heart Angel. That was very eloquently put, and thank you for going to the trouble to prepare that. That's absolutely, what a great opening to the call today. So I wholeheartedly agree. And someone sent me quite a horrific YouTube video, which I did watch on Sunday, which was 2 hours long. And it was, I was feeling into it, and I just, transcending the detail, the granular detail of it, what I really got was this persecutor victim dynamic, and also the rescuer dynamic that goes with that, which I have fallen into myself and have recognized this persecutor victim rescuer drama triangle, which at the root of is trauma, unresolved trauma. That is what we are being called to transcend. Every last place of persecutor victim rescuer. And it's an inner, yes, it's an inner healing. And there are points when I do get to that place of higher understanding through Ho'oponopono, of actually being able to get to that place of gratitude, because this horror show had to be this severe and this disruptive to awaken the consciousness. And I believe this awakening of consciousness, it had to be this dark and this terrible and this evil, a bit like in a medicine journey. The demons get so intense and powerful because they are forcing you to look into the shadow and to heal what's there. And once that hucha is cleared, everyone shoots through to the light. And I'm holding on to that possibility. Anyway, I'm not going to hog the call too much. Famous last words. Let's come next to, I want to choose people who haven't come on the call before, if I can. So let's come to Follow Your Bliss, Afterburner. And I wonder if you can speak. In fact, I think you might be on twice, so I've asked you to unmute. Follow Your Bliss, Afterburner.
Hello, I don't know if you can hear me.
No, sorry, I'm going to mute you back, because if you haven't got a good audio connection, I'm going to come straight past you. I'm sorry, but let's come to Mary Orsman, which is the blue Taurus field. Hi, Mary Orsman.
Hi, Rachel. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you very much for the opportunity to speak. And I'll just ramble on. I'll give you a brief background to my experience with this coronavirus. Way back in March, like many of the people on the call, I was initially very afraid and very scared of what was coming across in the media. And I think naturally, with an unknown, that was a response. I went back to Ireland. I was working in London for the previous 2 years, was furloughed, and had plenty of time to do some research and follow what my intuition was telling me, which was this is something different. I had the benefit of being able to research many of the alternative views, and my response changed very quickly from fear to curiosity. And I investigated many of the holistic paradigms. The first speaker there spoke very eloquently on the balance of being in fear or treating it as an opportunity for exploration and courage, and actually realizing that what we're experiencing en masse is an evolutionary pinch point. It's, for those of us that are more awake and more aware, it's causing a huge upwelling of natural response versus the very unnatural things that the governments and health authorities seem to be dispelling. And I was very curious. Very much at the beginning, I noticed the word coronavirus, anagrams, letter for letter, to the word carnivorous. And given how completely illogical, completely nonsensical many of the things the governments, certainly in the UK and around the world, have said, and how they fly in the face of common sense and fly in the face of public health and what we know to work and have known to work for decades. Once I came out of the fear, and once I began to see things for what they are, and see how much the authorities were sort of taking things in a certain direction, it became very clear that what we're experiencing is what we've always experienced: greed, manipulation, and the authorities doing things for self-interest and the interests of their corporate and commercial friends rather than public health. Yeah. And it seems to me carnivorous because it's these institutions which have come to the end of their life, or come to the end of their usefulness to the human race, have now turned on the human race as the final resort for their own sustenance. And I think that's where it falls down. That's the end of this rabid, commercialized capitalism that seeks to feed on true human value and true human worth.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Thank you for coming on, Mary Orsman, and sharing that.
Thank you. Can I just also share one resource that may be of interest to people that does verify what I've just said? There's a gentleman in America who's prepared a dossier on all of the patents that the CDC and the NIH in America have had for at least the last 10 or 20 years. They have been researching both the coronavirus pathogen and also the vaccine development. His name is David Martin, and you can find him at davidmartin.world. He has a 250-page dossier confirming what I've said, that there's a heck of amount of premeditation in what's going on right now.
Yeah. Okay, Mary Orsman, if you could put that link in the chat box, that would be great as well. But yes, Dr. David Martin, yes, I've read a lot of about him. He's the guy with the bow tie, right?
He is, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Thank you so much for coming on. I can see a couple of people have got their hands up, but I'm going to come next to Liberty, which is the Alex Gray. I think it's Alex Gray, isn't it? Is that his name? The artist who does those amazing psychedelic paintings. Can you come on? I've asked you to unmute. Let's see. Liberty, can you come on? Okay. If you don't respond, I'm going to pass by and move on. Emily McDonald is waving. So tenacity gets you on the call.
Hello. So let me tell you what happened this weekend. I've sent you an email, Rachel. I love your work. I think you're brilliant. And thank you so much for speaking out. I've been following this. I knew that it was a lie ever since the beginning. Everybody I spoke to, I work in the hospitality. My chefs are now stacking shelves in Tesco's. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but these are really highly trained chefs. It's so heartbreaking. So I have a friend who I invited over to my house at the weekend. I used to live in Warrington, so he came over on Friday. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. So he came over on Friday, and he lives on his own. We're struggling mentally. And Saturday morning, I had the police come out to my house, knocking on my door at 10 o'clock. I was so enraged. I'm sorry for crying. Asking me who else have I got in my household that wasn't me. I felt I was so enraged. How could they do this to us? I was absolutely furious. I kept my calm. And this is a really important message because I've been listening to a lot of Dolores Cahill about our unalienable rights and understanding where we are with the forces. So I said to them that this was harassment, and I wouldn't answer their questions. They asked me what my name was. I said I don't understand because I've been reading a lot about common law. And I said, and then they turned really lovely and said, "Oh, your dog is so cute. What's her name?" I said, "You're not having her name either." I said, "This is harassment," and they left. But I spent the rest of the weekend so upset that one of my neighbours had ratted me out, and I just find this whole situation, it's tyranny. You know, to have another, I live on my own. I haven't got any family that live around here. And this is what they're doing to us. It's horrible. And to have police turn up at your house when you're making breakfast on a Saturday morning, asking who you've got in your household from another household. This is what we're facing, folks, and it's not pretty.
Okay, Emily, yeah, wow. Really feeling for you.
I couldn't believe that somebody had done that to me. I've just written a letter and I've sent it also to UK Column. I don't know whether you guys ever listened to UK Column.
Yeah. So just let's just drop from that story, and if you could just drop into your body for a second, and just drop from your mind and the story just into your body, and just feel into where this anger, grief, sadness is in your body. Can you just feel into that, where you're holding it?
In my stomach, it's just in knots. We've got to this. Yeah.
Okay. So Emily, I just want to take you through a process for the benefit of anyone who's similarly triggered or activated, to just really tune into that.
Sorry, I didn't mean to burst into tears, but
no, Emily, please do not apologize for what you're feeling. The fact that you're fully feeling this is really important, and it's really powerful. I just want you to tune into that feeling in your stomach. And if you had to give it a color, what color is it?
I love yellow.
Okay. And what color's behind the yellow? Emily, let's just focus on this for 1 second. What color's behind the yellow?
Orange.
Okay. And what color's behind the orange?
Red.
Yeah. So I just want you to tune into another part of your body that does feel okay in this current moment. Maybe your hands, maybe your bum on the seat, maybe your feet on the ground. Is there any place in your body that does feel okay right now?
Yes, I feel when I say I'm feeling enraged, I feel upset.
Emily, sorry, just tune into your body. Which part of your body? Let's drop from the mind and the story. Just tune into your body and tell me a place in your body that feels okay right now, at peace, at rest, calm.
My legs and
okay.
Yeah.
So just tuning into your legs and just feeling the support of the earth. The support of the earth. And just tuning into that support and allowing that support to anchor you. Just imagining now that yellow, orange, red going all the way down to the core of Mother Earth and to the red hot core, and know that you're rooted and anchored in the earth. This is really deeply healing to fully feeling is fully healing. And then just to bring it down and root back into Gaia. I just wanted to take you through that process because we're all activated at the moment, and there are a lot of trauma healing processes which we can start to. The breath is one, dropping into the body, pendulating between where we feel the pain and where we feel safety. These are all powerful processes, which is very important for us to start learning these processes so that we can ride the wave of these triggers, which are hugely activating our trauma, so that we can alchemize and transmute it. So I just want to thank you for coming on, Emily, and sharing.
Sorry, I just think that people need to understand their common law, and also to know that, you know, as long as you don't give any of your information and you clearly say you don't understand when they ask you for your name, that you're not you don't have to give it to them, and they cannot come into your home.
Okay.
Okay,
thank you. And I totally get common law. And yes, I would encourage everyone to look into common law, because this is the thing now. A lot of people are saying to me, why don't you go into politics, Rachel? But actually, as the Blue Taurus field said earlier, this is actually about questioning the system now, I feel, and the system of law, and how we are being governed and how we're being policed, and so on. I'm going to come to people who've got their hand up. I'm going to come to Terry Deans, that looks like the Giant's Causeway, and I'm assuming if you have your hand up, that's because you want to speak. So hi, Terry.
Oh, hi, Rachel. Yeah, that is the Giant's Causeway, north coast of Northern Ireland. Some of you may know about it. So you can hear my accent, you can tell where I come from, and the flag behind me, not that one, this one, is a Northern Ireland football team flag. Anyway, I think that's important because I know we're rushed for time. I can be a bit of a rambler as well, but I don't want to, because I know there's a lot of time. There's not much time. It's been brilliant listening to the people speaking. The Heart Angel at the beginning referred to fear and division. You referred to it yourself, Rachel, in your interviews and your videos. And I sent a message to you the other day about abusive relationships. You sort of referred to that kind of thing in a recent walk video that you did.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I come from Northern Ireland. I'm 60 years old now. I was born when the Troubles started, when the soldiers first came to Northern Ireland as an 8-year-old in 1969, and the civil rights movements and stuff, and the 30 years which that led up to of conflict. So the relevance of that, and also I'm an ex-Royal Navy Falklands War veteran as well, into the bargain. So at the age of 21, I went to the Falkland Islands and fought in the South Atlantic with the Royal Navy. So I understand things about fear and how fear affects group dynamics. And I think that what this government are doing, at points in the past, I used to refer to it as poor leadership. I don't call it that anymore, or incompetence. I call it deliberate. It's deliberate division and inciting fear within the public. Now, in Northern Ireland, that was classic. The division, the sectarianism, the tribalism, which was induced by the politicians and the narrative holders. Look how it panned out there. People ended up killing each other and bombing each other. It was pure fear. You know, I lived in a housing estate in the countryside in Northern Ireland, where as a young boy, I had friends from all sections of the community. As soon as the trouble started, everybody was suspicious of each other. You know, you're a Republican, you're a terrorist, you're a this, that, and the other thing, and it's quite dangerous. So to save me rattling on too much, I made a couple of notes. I think that I wanted to sort of come up with identify a couple of problems. I'm not quite in the sort of same spiritual sort of sense as a couple of previous speakers have been doing, but I can resonate with them. I can understand where they're coming from, and I can relate to the sentiments and the emotions that they're evoking. So this is what my layman's version of that is. This government, I think that what's happening is they're inducing the fear and the division by not allowing open debate and inviting dissenting and alternative voices. It's a deliberate cutoff. And what that does is, from my experience in the Royal Navy and the training that we did during like traumas and during battles and stuff like that, you have to allow yourself to be open to the expressionism and the emotions and the feelings of everybody else around you. You have to allow that, because if you don't allow that, then the whole group, the whole team gets disaffected by that and is weakened as a result, and is incapable of collectively dealing with the threat that's in front of you, that is threatening to all of us. Everybody in this group and everybody who I ever hear speaking, whether they agree with COVID, whether they think it's not non-existent, whether they think it's whatever the range of all the people's opinions are, every single one of those persons' opinions are based on their fear of being in a national crisis. We are not trained to be in a national crisis. The Prime Minister of this country told us back in March that we were facing the biggest threat to our nation in his lifetime. That means all of our lifetimes, because he's around about the same age as most of us in this group. So none of us have been prepared for that. So what do the government do? They induce fear, panic. They don't invite discussion. They close down and ridicule anybody who comes up with an alternative view, even professionals, even medical professionals. And I think this is the deliberate ploy by them to do that, to combat fear. Whenever what they should be doing is they should be if we were in an emergency, the people in charge of that emergency, of any emergency service like the fire brigade or something like that, if you're in the middle of a disaster, they would lead you out in an orderly fashion. What these people have done is they've created a stampede of panic, and they've made the whole nation incapable of dealing with it, and they've closed people down by ridiculing them, conspiracy theorists, COVIDiots, that type of thing. So I just want, before I finish, Rachel, I'd just like to try and offer a solution, if I may.
Yes, quickly, Terry, because you have had more than your 3 minutes.
I'm so sorry. And that is, please try and be careful when you're confronted by the people who are attacking you. There's a lot of trollings, a lot of attacking going on. Those people are frightened as well. So my solution is, the way I operate it is, I try to do the thing that they don't do to me, and that is I ask them why they feel how they feel. I don't confront them. I don't tackle them. I don't tell them they're wrong. I don't accuse them of things, and I don't think that they're telling them they're stupid. I engage them, and I think that that's what we should do. It'll preserve your mentality and keep you strong. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Wow. Yes, I've done a couple of speaking events in Belfast, and energetically it felt like a city that was like a shattered pane of glass, the trauma of the city that's held in that city. So it's very interesting to have you on, and that you've lived through that trauma. And this is really what we're being called to heal now, isn't it? Okay, I'm going to come next. Who else have we got? I'm going to come to Lorraine, who is the blue, looks like Northern Lights, Norwegian sky. I'm just coming at random here. And well,
hi there.
If you have your hand up, you've got more chance of getting on, or an interesting answer.
Can you hear me?
Hi, Lorraine. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, it is the Northern Lights. One thing that I just wanted to mention quickly, I'm in contact with a friend in Wales who is completely awake, and he's been doing amazing work over years, filming the skies and everything and trying to inform people. He's been taken down from various channels, as have I. I was suspended from Twitter last week for basically posting the truth. I've heard nothing back from them. They never give you an answer as to why you've been suspended, but of course we all know why. You are not allowed to speak your truth. He called me yesterday, and a farmer nearby him, 93 years old, went on Saturday to have his COVID jab. And he got back home, and he then had another phone call later in the day from the surgery saying that he could go back for his second jab because they had jabs left over. Now, this is not anything that we've been told. They're saying that we've got gaps between, the first and the second jab. So that, to me, smacks that this whole thing is a charade. That's the most pleasant word I can use for it. Like most people here, I was very, very fearful at the beginning. I had awareness of lots of other things. So I've been quite well versed in the way everything is working out. I lost my brother in August. He had terminal cancer. He went into a hospice. Nobody was with him when he died because there was very limited visiting. And he was completely aware of what was going on. And just, a really, really tragic and extreme trauma, actually, in having to go through that, given everything else going on. And I know that many people have lost their loved ones in all sorts of circumstances. I find the scariest thing, I'm not fearful for myself, it's my family. Two of my sons have no clue. One is in New York and he's going to be jabbed probably ASAP. I can't explain to him any of this because anything I say, he just dismisses as conspiracy theory. I've got friends that are buying into the whole thing. So apart from a few people and my sister, but she isn't actually living in this country, it's so difficult to actually just get basic facts through to anyone. They just do not want to hear it.
Yeah.
I think that is the hardest thing to, once they've got this cognitive dissonance, they're like an immovable object.
Yeah.
And I'm sure most of you have had this problem either within your own families or with friends, and you become more and more isolated. So that's the thing. It's a feeling of isolation.
Yeah. Okay, Lorraine. When I switch back to gallery view, it's kind of you've had your 2 to 3 minutes. So thank you for coming on.
Yeah, no, thank you. Thank you.
Sorry to hear about that loss, and I'm sure many people have got similar stories of losing loved ones through this. And yes, so my heart goes out to you. I'm going to come to Sue M, which is the shamanic grandmother type, I think oracle card. Actually, I think I've got a deck of those oracle cards. Hi, Sue.
Hi, Rachel. I guess first of all, I just want to say thank you, Rachel, for everything that you're doing. I'm very kind of aware that of how much you are putting yourself on the line with all of this in some ways. And I just want to thank you for your courage. It's been so supportive seeing everything that you've been putting up. In terms of what I'm feeling oppressed, I'm feeling terrorized, I'm feeling lied to, and I feel isolated, and I feel righteous rage. And all of those, for me, remind me in a way of, they don't remind me in a way, they remind me totally of a childhood experience. So in many ways, what I believe for myself is that having come through something of this that bears these kinds of emotions, and having survived those kinds of things in childhood, and having worked through a huge amount of baggage, I feel like somewhere now I'm looking at these things from a space of, oh, hello, we've been there before, very much from the patriarchal as well. Now, my background is very grounded and very rooted, and I spent many years in the fire service. And during that time, I also trained shamanically and have had many blessings of traveling and working with shamans in many different countries. And I'm very solo working on my own. I've kind of never really put myself out there that much. But what I feel very much is what I wanted to offer in a way as a resource. And people can feel free to pick with this if they want to. Might not be for everybody. But one of the things that I've become very aware of is that all of the things that my shamans held in common were saying that we don't honour the divine, we don't honour spirituality enough, we don't work with ceremony enough, we don't work with prayer enough, we don't work with Gaia enough. And I'm wanting really to offer something that is about bringing those energies and opening portals to those energies in these extremely dark times. And one of the ways that I do that is that I have altar a ceremony, and I have a site that's called Shamanctuary. I'll pop it on chat. And I wanted to offer altar work, altar time, altar ceremony once every fortnight for about an hour, where I will attune to what feels right to bring in, to open spiritual portals, to aid spiritual, our guides and our spirits that are there absolutely banging on the door, wanting to say, we're here to support and help. And I want to offer this as a fortnightly offering. And if people want to come on board, I'll use oracle cards, I'll use whatever I feel guided. I'll create an altar that is specifically attuned to what has been going on through that fortnight, that can offer medicine in terms of how we then open our hearts to our own guides and our own divinity and our own resource from that space. Thank you.
Okay, Stu. Thank you for that offer. And yes, please put that in the chat box so people can sign up and join you in that. And yes, I totally get that. I remember when I was in South America, the shamans there saying that when you sit at an altar, you are connected to every other person sitting at an altar on the entire planet. It's a super powerful way of connecting into the spiritual grid. Okay, so who else to come to? Jill N has got her hand up. So people are waving, trying to get on the call. So yes.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
You're very faint, actually. Have you got a microphone?
Yeah, just a minute. Let me just change my audio settings. Right, okay, let me just... Is that better?
Yeah, that's better, yes.
Okay, I've just been involved in the Great Reopening, and I'm finding it very uplifting, and it's great to be around people now who are awake like me, and be able to talk in the group and meet up in town for a social distance coffee, but... So yeah, we're doing that, planning to do the Great Reopening on the 30th. I don't know how many shops are going to reopen. We're just going to have to wait and see for that. But they've got all the lawyers or the common law in place, everything, you know.
Where can people find out more about that?
I put a link in the chat.
Okay.
It's mainly on Telegram. That's where all the action is at the moment.
I have heard about this Great Reopening, and it will be interesting to see how many people do rise up and reopen, like in Italy and California and all those places.
It's exciting, and I feel excited, and my energy has been so light since I've joined the group. It's been great because I've done a lot of clearing myself.
Cool.
And yeah, I just feel really excited at the moment.
Okay, thank you for coming on and letting us know about that. And I've lost you there, so
thank you.
You might, oh yes, there you are, Jill. Just I'm muting you back. Is that Joe Simpson there? Shouldn't
it is, it's fine, it's fine.
Sorry, Universal Creatrix, I mean, I recognize.
I was going to say
hi, welcome.
Thanks, Rachel. Thank you. I wanted to share a story of hope, actually, and linking in just what Sue said there about the power of prayer. I had some very emotional conversations with my parents over Christmas about the injection. and thought they were in a position where they weren't having it. Anyway, I knew then they changed their mind a couple of weeks ago that they were going to have it because other aunties and family were having it. And so I literally been praying like I think I'd never prayed before, and working with my altar. And on Friday, just gone, I had a really important call at 2 o'clock. And I thought, I'll just go for a walk before I come back for the call. And as I'm walking out the door, I picked the phone up about 1 o'clock to my mum. And I'm like, something's going, why are you doing this right now? And you haven't got time. This is not the right time. If this is going to get emotional, this is not the right time. Anyway, as I'm speaking to her, mum says, you know, we are going to tell you, just so you know, we've had our letter and we are going to have it. And I've sent so many things, so many conversations. And, you know, my legs buckled a bit and I'm like, okay, hold this together, Joe. And I said, right, okay. I said a few things. And then I said, you know, would you at least just give me a week to put something? I was having this realization I needed to make it more layman's terms, Sent them a couple of your videos, Rachel, and which they enjoyed, and they're still having it. And anyway, as I'm on the call, my dad comes down the stairs. I was on to my mum, and he said, if that's Joe on the phone, tell her that they've just put on hold all of the vaccines for age 75 to 79. My mum is 76, my dad is 79. And he said they're run out of supply.
Wow.
So I am like going on my walk. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I then get home a bit later on and I Google, and it was only for the town where my parents live. It was not a global, it was not a nationwide thing. And as I was on my walk, and I'm, you know, in deep, deep gratitude because I've bought some time, I got the message, now you've really got to work and help humanity with this. And I think having heard Sue just speak, and I wanted to share that experience, and I was talking to another friend this morning who's also on this call now, it was Spirit worked that. The exact age group in the town.
Yes.
And I wanted to share that message because the power of prayer and, you know, on a group basis, you know, we really do have the ability to make a change.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe. Thanks for coming on.
Pleasure.
And well done. And yes, prayer works. And I just know that from so many experiences in my life, and I'm sure everyone on this call has had those experiences. When we connect to that infinite intelligence beyond the veil, magic happens. So, okay, let's see who else. We've got 13 minutes left. And let's come to Rich Beethoven. That's a great avatar. Can you come on, Rich Beethoven? Are you able to speak? Do you want to speak? Yes?
Hello.
Hi.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes. Hi.
Thanks for having me on. I'm delighted to be here. I'm a professional musician. I'm a cellist. And I've been teaching, obviously, lots of children during this time and seeing the effect this is having on their, not just education, but their well-being and sense of enjoyment. And I think this whole agenda, which it clearly is designed to put people's spirits down, to actually make people unhappy and make people divided, make people aggressive. And I think there are, in the very beginning, I was with my family, we were very obedient. And after about a week, we knew that something's not right and started to research. And it's brought us very much together. I know some families are divided terribly. This has actually brought us even closer together. And we're so grateful to the small community of friends that we've built around us, and we can actually create our own new life, as it were. There is a way to cope with all this if everyone pulls together, shares resources, I think what we've researched particularly is the damage that electricity does to your health, which started at the birth of electricity some hundreds of years ago, and that is when all these first illnesses started to develop. Obviously the 5G masts, the antennas that are popping up everywhere, that we're told is just for the good of the environment and to help your movies to download more quickly. And I think it's so important to, you know, we've looked well beyond that, and we've started not to try and change people's minds, people who are close to our family who have totally opposing views. We decided to use our energy to actually make ourselves stronger. I think if people want to look, the information is there, but we found it, I'm sure everyone else finds it very draining to try and convince families and friends what is going on. And actually, we found what we did is just to maybe give a gentle pointer and maybe suggest a book or some little bit of information, because we've had enough of arguments and it's actually been very demoralizing for ourselves. And I think the most important thing is to keep ourselves healthy. That's the most important thing. And meet new people, just as I'm doing now. It's incredible, actually. You know, the people are coming together. Total strangers are talking, sharing, becoming friends in some instances. And I think what is happening is actually brilliant, and there will be a solution. There will be a way forward. And if I can just recommend two incredible books. One is called The Contagion Myth, which is banned from Amazon, but it's still possible to buy it. And it blows apart the whole concept of how you can actually become ill. It's nothing to do with passing on viruses from people to people. It's mainly down to the environment, and then electricity, which is, and satellites in space, and also the invisible rainbow, which is basically the history of electricity. And it's incredibly eye-opening. And I'd just like to share that with you.
Yeah. Thank you, Rich. Thanks for coming on. Totally agree about the children. I mean, my two younger sons are at school and online schooling, and it's like they're spending so much of their life on a screen in their room, like a little prison cell. And it's so sad and increasingly difficult to prise them away from the screens and get them to go out for a walk. And so it's very challenging. Okay, so we've got 4 pages of people on here. Just 8 minutes left. Who to come to next? And actually, who's that Misco waving? Do you want to come on? Okay.
Hi, hello.
Hi, Misco.
Hi, my name's Meg. Thank you very much for creating this really vital community of like-minded people. I'm a business owner. Me and my husband have an artisan chocolate shop in Staffordshire Moorlands. And over the past year, things have changed dramatically. In a lot of ways for the good. Our business has really grown, and we've reached a point where we're about to, or we're quite far down the process of buying our own shop. And I'm finding myself in a position where I don't know whether to act from my heart and from life and from this hope that we can build a better future and a magical one, or whether to hunker down and try to weather a storm. We're both very spiritual and connected, so we've kind of been aware that things, dark things and forces are involved for quite a few years, really. So, but living in it and trying to make humongous life decisions where in such a period of chaos and conflict and fear is really, really challenging. And I'm finding myself flitting between two polarities of thinking, okay, this is amazing, this is a great awakening, things are going to change and they're going to be magical and wonderful, and it's the future that we've always dreamed of, to then shrinking down into fear and why are we doing this? Why are we getting into debt at this time? And why? And I suppose I wanted to be a part of this because a lot of my other business networks and my family and friends I can't talk too fully about this because they don't believe this alternative narrative.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for coming on, Meg. That was your name, yes, Meg? Yes. It's kind of symbolic of Jupiter and Saturn going through Aquarius together, because Jupiter wants to expand and Saturn wants to contract.
Yeah.
It's like, it is like the lungs breathing, actually, this contraction and expansion, contraction. So I guess the thing is, could you be both? It's not an either or, it's a both and more.
I've always liked to have my cake and eat it, and it feels like this, that's how we should be. It's like, no, we are pushing through this, pushing out of the fear and creating what we need. We need to create communities.
Yes.
Shops need to not close. We need to be there so people can talk, which they do. People come into the shop and pour their hearts out.
It's like we are bridges. We got one foot in the old paradigm and one foot in the new, and we're the bridges. That's the way that I see it. Okay, so I'm going to come next. Thank you. Just let's get a couple more people on the call. Let's come to Pure Love and Light. Oh, is that Susan?
Yeah.
Hey,
hi. Oh, Rachel, this is just amazing. This is so amazing. I'm very fortunate because quite a few of my family, most of my family are switched on, and I see quite a lot of them. But this is just amazing to be part of a very awake community and throwing ideas around together. I think it fills us with more hope, more belief. And my firm feeling is things are going to come right. We are on the cusp of a golden age, but we are being constricted. And as I said last time, I'm of the firm belief this is about us going within as well to find those shadows. Find your own stuff and work on the forgiveness, the release, the healing. And yeah, if enough of us can wake up, it's a very small amount of us we can make a shift for the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. It only takes a critical mass. That's in Revelation, it's 104,000. It's not, it doesn't have to be all 8 billion people.
Yeah. And just quickly, I'll put a little, if you want me to, I'll put a link on Pam Gregory, the astrologer. It's brilliant to listen to, who speaks about Jupiter, Saturn and that confliction. But what's lovely is she says, liberty always wins.
Yeah.
Liberty always wins.
Thank you. Thank you. So let's come to Paul P. As you're the first, with your hand up, you're the first person on my screen here.
You can hear me okay?
Hi, Paul.
Oh, thanks. I'll be very quick. I just wanted to really say this, thank you. Everything else I wanted to talk about has gone on. I just wanted to say thank you to you for this and for the fantastic YouTube videos, and to everyone else, because I don't know about everyone else, but I feel really uplifted by this. So massive gratitude, and so nice to be around people that kind of think the same, because the problem a year ago or 10 months, whatever it was the big disconnection between people that felt like us and people that just bought into the mainstream media 100%. So just thank you, basically. And I'm feeling really better for this. So excellent. Thanks.
What a lovely note to end on, Paul. Thank you for coming on and sharing that. Just going to complete the call just with a message, and I'm leaving this message to the end because I only want the most tenacious people. Most people start watching videos but don't finish watching videos. So a few people have sent me private emails floating the suggestion of investing in land and a community. And I'm just putting out a clarion call that if anyone is interested and has the resources to potentially make that happen, for a group of us to get together and to acquire some land and to create a conscious community, maybe some farmland, a farmhouse with land. And yes, and actually, Robin, you did mention it on one of the calls. Please email me and put the words Inner Sanctum in the email title. I'm going to set up a special folder, because I can't always read and definitely not reply to all your emails, but I will set up a special folder called Inner Sanctum. And if your email has Inner Sanctum in the heading, in the email title, it will get to a special folder and I will reply to you. So that's a little clarion call. It will have to be somewhere in the Peak District, just to say if I'm involved in it, because I'm tied here because of my children until until my youngest is 18. So that's for the next 5 years. Okay, so sending you lots of love. If anyone is watching this and is not signed up to this, please do go to my website, rachelelnaugh.com/sign-up, which means you get Zoom invites and the recordings and also any notifications of interesting stuff. I promise not to bombard you with emails, but it just helps to kind of be in the loop. And obviously, I promise not to use that list to do any form of push marketing or sales, because that's really not where I'm at the moment. So just wanting to end, here we go, 1 o'clock, just after 1 p.m, just to thank you all so much for joining, sending you so much love. Just going to flick across the screen so that we can just see, and a few people are leaving. So we've got still got 75 people on the call. So thank you all for staying through to the end. Love you lots. Thanks for all your support and energy. Bye for now.